Here we go. Join me as we install this Ohme EV charger. And it's been taken out of someone's house, but make sure to watch to the complete end of the video and you'll learn something completely and understand all this video. You might even be surprised. That's if you haven't worked it out already. Let's go. And now this is also the cable that will send the signal back or go into the CT clamp to make sure that it's drawing the right current. So that one, we'll just unravel that as well, take the tape off it because this has been taken out from a previous house. So we're just going to install it in their new house. And I've got to hope that everything that's been ripped out from the last house will actually be long enough to be able to be used in the new house as well. So we're just checking out the length as well. The cable's not damaged, but yeah, it's probably connected that end. I haven't pulled the rest off, but yeah, but it'll be fine. We're still going to unravel it to make sure that it'll go right back to the fuse board, because where it's going to go is that wall on the corner, so it can connect up to the car and yeah, charge a car basically. EV charger, this is all we need. It's basically a fancy socket. That's all an EV charger is. So then we're going to unravel this, and that's the CT cable all unraveled, ready to go. Obviously got all my tools out there as well, so we'll keep that tape so we can just roll it up if we need to be. And then this is where the car charger wants to go, and plug it into there. There we go. Yep, have a look at that. Spot on. That's where it plugs into. And that's the little cap that goes onto the charger. So that'll be fine. So the first thing we need to mount out there, will basically be the charger. And that is inside the box. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to unravel the SY cable. This is not SY cable, sorry. It's steel wired armoured cable. This is steel wired armoured. No, it's not steel wired armoured actually. It's that Robux cable with the no armour in it. So basically this is a bit of cable that we're going to roll out to be able to feed a 6mm single phase cable to feed the actual charger, which will be on a 40 amp fuse, an RCD bi-directional fuse to supply. So yes, we're just going to take the tape off it as well so we can unravel it a bit more. And there we go, take that tape off so it will roll out perfectly. Tidy that tape up just in case we want to use it again. So yep, we'll put that like so. Fiddling around with that there, Ben, a little bit, but just put it in your pocket. Put it in your pocket or put it back in the tools. Don't worry about it. That's it, put it in your pocket, nice one. Right, now we'll carry on and we'll get this cable rolled out, ready to be installed along to the actual fuse board, because what we need to do is get this cable directly from the charger going straight back to the fuse board. And look at that, where it's been taken out, it's still connected to the little box as well. So we've got all that to install on the wall. And yes, it was a bit bent up. Like, it's second-hand cable, but it wasn't damaged, so it should be fine. And that was all in the box, ready to be installed. And what we're fiddling around with this, just put the cable out to make sure it's long enough again. And I like playing with that tape, don't I? Leave that tape down there, put it back on the bag, that's it. Leave it on the bag, then it don't get lost. Spot on, we'll leave it on the bag there. Nice one, that's where the tape can go. Right, so then now what we want is to get that charger out. Nope, let's get some cutters to basically make that cable, let's put it back together onto there for the CT clamp. So we'll put that cable back onto the box, which will terminate into, because on these Ohme chargers, you've just got the cables coming out as well. So you don't actually gland it off into the charger, you gland it off into a terminal box at the bottom. So we're laying it all out, seeing what exactly we want to do. That's going to go inside the house. There we go, with the RCD and stuff like that in there, with the tail that will go into the board. And let's have a look inside here. This will be the cover that we're going to whip off, just to make sure everything's in there and we can use it. I think this is looks like a BG board that we're going to use. I don't even know the make of it. It's something that Octopus Energy supply. Octopus Energy put this in the last house originally. It got ripped out, and yeah, it's going to get reinstalled back in this property. So let's have a look what's inside this fuse board. So we've got an SPD in there as well, look. And then the RCD bi-directional, I think that's it. I've never seen that brand before. I'm unsure what that brand is, but it must be something that Octopus Energy use. So let's have a look where it's going to go. Look at that, beautiful. It will sit right under there. I've got my little torch. It's not that dark, but it's nice having a bit more light. Drop the bleeding torch. So There we go. Have a look around there where it's going to go. It's not going to go under the floor. It's going to have to go along outside on the ceiling in some trunking. So we're going to put it up there, just route it all the way around. So then we'll go back outside and we're going to install the actual charger on the wall outside, exactly where it wants to go. And that should reach the car perfectly from there. So all we want to do is mount that charger on the wall. So yeah, it can basically reach the car. And the cable will just ping along outside with these D-line clips. There we go, shove that in there. And another one, wrap it around there. Easily go in, nice one. That'll just clip it up. Clip that cable nice and neat all the way along. Yeah, again, it might look a bit ugly, but it needs must sort of thing. We've got to shove it in there. Even the dust will go in with it. Spot on. So then we need to get it round the corner to go down to the charger. Because obviously we need to terminate it into the adaptable box. So we'll just throw that up there, look like that. Bang it in. There we go, nice and tight. Put it round the edge to the corner. And then we'll put the box as well. Obviously, we've got to get the box lid off if we're going to fix this to the wall. So we'll get the lid off first as well. I don't even know what brand lid this is as well. And then the charger comes with some little screws that need fixing to the wall because they're what holds it. And why the hell did I put them screws in them stones? I do not know. I'll never find them again. But, you know what I mean? It'll be fine. I'll have to have a look. I'll get a magnet out if not. And they get stuck in there. I don't know if I like these Ohme chargers or not. They're sort of the basics of car chargers. So here we go. Take the 3 screws out. And there's a mounting plate on the back. And you mount the plate on the wall. And then just put the charger on it. And then you put your 6mm supply to the adaptable box underneath. And that's it. It's on. It's spot on. So we're going to mount this to the wall. There we go. Fix it on. Spot on. Just there. 4 screws. Nice and tight. Make sure it's level. Don't worry about a level. Just eye level will do. Your eye up to the bricks. Making it look level is better than actually being level. And then we'll mount the charger on the wall with the 3 screws. There we go. We'll use this little screwdriver just to tighten it up as well. Because sometimes you couldn't get it in the side. So I needed a little stubby screwdriver just to tighten them all up. So yep, them 3 screws in there. That should be the 3 screws. Unless I lost one in the stones. But there will be something in there and give it a bit of a test. Nope, leave the tester there. Sorry, didn't mean that. So then we're going back to basically, yeah, try and tighten it up. That last one, that was it. That last one that I dropped in the gravel. There's the last screw. Put that screw on. Make sure it's tight. And then that's the charger mounted to the wall. And then the cable that goes down to the adaptable box. We'll mount that adaptable box down low. Give it a bit of a loop on there. And put these D-line clips in again. Smash them into the wall. There we go. Just push them nice and hard. They'll go in. There we go. Spot on. That's all clipped to the wall. And then we want to basically mount the box on the wall as well. Oh, yeah. We've got to mount the plug charger. This is where the plug goes. So, yeah, put that on the wall as well. And that comes apart. You've got to make sure you get the plastic bit on there. This is the right way up because that little hook is where the cable will hold on the wall as well. For obviously when the charger's not being used. You roll it up and you hang it on the side of there. There we go. Plug it in. Spot on. Leave that up there. And these D-line clips, once again, you need to shove them in. And on this cable, it's not EVSE Ultra cable. It's basically a separate cable run for the CT clamp and the armoured cable. So we'll bunch it together and just shove it on the wall. There we go. This is exactly how Octopus Energy do it. And we're shoving that on the wall as well. The adaptable box with 4 screws. Bang them on. No need for raw plugs. Just throw them straight in. There we go. It will go. Yep. 4 screws. I think 4 screws. A couple of washers on them as well, I think. As well, yeah. Put a washer on there. Just to make sure that box is stuck on there. Didn't need a level as well. Like I say, looking level is better than actually being level. And then we've just got to make sure that these terminals are tight as well. So let's have a look in here. And that basically, they seem tight enough. They look tight. So let's just put the lid on it and be done with it. They're in there, so we won't check the tightness of them. We'll just do it up. That'll be fine. And I don't know why I've got 2 screwdrivers in my hand. Possibly one's a flathead, and I thought that it was a posi screwdriver. It wasn't. It was a flathead. And now to feed the cable back in the house. There we go, straight through that wall, which was spot on. I think the cable was so tough, it just banged its own hole through the wall just to go back into the house. So we'll feed that straight back in the house and obviously just clip it round nice and neat. And for the cable as well, just make sure you use them D-line clips. Just bang them straight into that mortar. That'll do it. It'll hold them up nice and neat and just smash them in there. Just give it a bit of a good push and they'll go in nice and tight. Now grip them in there. What I'm doing, I'm gripping the actual armoured cable and the cable for the CT clamp, which is just a bit of Ethernet cable, really, that you can use for that CT clamp. That'll be spot on. And yeah, just put these D-line clips in there. The last little bit, take a bit of time sort of thing to get them nice and neat. Stick the D-line clips on. And with a bit of tough love, push it through that hole. Yeah, it did smash the brick out and it looks a complete mess. But, well, you know what I mean? It happens. So, there we go. Don't put any sealant on it either, because let the water get in and probably deteriorate the brick and it'll just look a mess later on. Probably leak inside. But that's all right. So, let's put some trunking up as well. Oh, yeah. It's a bit tough to get up there, but we're going to bang all the trunking straight up onto the wall. There we go, up in there with a few raw plugs. And yeah, some other bits as well. You've got to make it look half decent. You could just bang it up without any trunking. But I thought if it makes it look a bit nicer, because white walls, white trunking, better than black cable, to be honest with you. And put some screws in there as well. Didn't really have to because it had that tape on the back. Well, it was sticky back, sorry. So we stuck it up there to start with. So we'll put a couple of screws in there to hold that up as well. At least we know out of it all that the trunk is not going to fall down. Put some little clips in there as well to hold the cable in place. Just in random places. That won't be too bad. So we can hold the cable inside the trunk in. Basically so it doesn't come out. It might fall down, but not whilst we're there, eh? That's why we're going to use some of these clips to hold the cable in a bit as well. So we use these clips to hold the cable in when we put it inside the trunk in. Because it's got to go all the way round this foyer bit of the house and back to the fuse board. And then we won't drill a hole at a directional angle to get it into that cupboard. We'll just bang a bit more trunking up there as well. And then drill the hole through into the cupboard. That's exactly where we want to go. And obviously, yeah, we're going to stick it up there with some screws as well. Because we might as well make a complete mess if we're going to put some trunking in there. So there we go. We'll tighten that in. And that cable can go straight through and into the undercupboard sort of thing. Where we can connect up to the fuse board. Now what we need to do is feed the end of the cable through that hole. It should be spot on. Go straight into that cupboard where the fuse board goes. And there we go. Just push it straight in to go back to the fuse board. And there we go. It will sit nice and neat inside that trunking. Or as neat as it's going to look. Octopus Energy get away with it, so why can't we? There we go. A bit of trunking inside as well, which we can go straight down to the fuse board. And it will go back in its own little fuse board. And now we want to get the little one-way fuse board with the multi-directional, whatever it is. I don't even know what it is. RCD unit sort of thing for the EV charger. And then, yes, we want to mount this up as well, where we put the gland into it first. We'll put the cable into the box first before we actually pull it on the wall. Do things a little bit different here, you know. So, yes, we're going to put the cable straight into the box. And then we're going to mount the box upside down. Or yes, just mount it this way around. It'll be fine with all the cables in there. So we've wired the actual MCB and surge protection thing all in there firstly, and then stuck it to the wall after. And of course, we want to keep this cable nice and neat. So let's put some trunking on there as well. Right, let's make sure we knock the fuse board off and knock the RCD off just to make sure it's dead. And of course, we've got to pull that fuse out. So there we go. We'll make sure we pull that fuse out because we've got to connect up the new little board onto the mains. Because if we ain't got a supply, it ain't going to work, is it? And then make sure we put the screws in to actually mount this box. Because remember, we wired it first to make our life a little bit harder. So when we actually put the screws into the back of the box, it's going to be a bit tough. And we could even damage the cable. So we just make it as hard as we can. Because, you know, why not? So we'll put the box to the wall so we're able to connect up the charger. As you can see there as well, that the cables for the EV charger, they're still hanging out. We haven't really clipped that cable yet. We'll try and make it look a bit neater possibly, but otherwise it'll just swing free air with a little D-line clip to the wall. That'll do. As long as it's in there, nobody cares. No one's gonna be pulling on it, or shouldn't be anyway. We could probably put a little sticker on there saying please do not pull on the cable, it will damage it. But we'll put that cable in there nice and neat. And yes, we will. Look, there's that D-line clip we're going to put that in there and just smash it into the wall. So it comes down the trunking. Probably didn't have enough trunking to go all the way, so we're just going to put that CT clamp cable and the Robux cable into that new little fuse board, and we'll terminate it into the bottom of the RCD where we can put it in there. Look, there we go, and tighten it all up. And then this is where we're going to connect the new fuse board actually into the mains. Let's go for the earth first. So we're going to take the earth cover off, make sure that is in there, and then find out a terminal in there where we can connect up to the main earth for the new little one-way unit we're putting in for the actual EV charger. And then once we get the earth connected, we might as well put the cover on it. We're not going to need to test it. It doesn't matter. We're pretty confident it'll be fine. So we're just going to put the cover on to the fuse board, like so. Then once we turn it on, it's basically on. If it doesn't work, it's not really my problem. I've done my best. So then we can do this up nice and tight. Might even just do them up nice and over tight. Make sure no one can get it off. And that is the fuse board in there located. Now we need to do is get a live and neutral to that new fuse board. Otherwise it's not going to work, is it? Maybe the CT clamp we'll put inside a little Wago box, and then possibly put a screw in the back of that Wago box, or just leave it free air. We can just leave it there for now. But this is where we're going to connect up. I think that looks like a neutral to me, or a live, one or the other. But we will put a screw in these chop boxes so we can connect up the earth. All we're going to do is we'll pull out the meter tails that come from the head and put straight into these chop boxes. So that'll give you a live and a neutral. Or no, let's actually pull it out the meter. So the meter can go... Oh, I'm getting so confused now. Right, so we need to... Basically, so we've got a meter supply. It needs to go through the meter. So let's whip the meter cover off as well. Luckily, all these seals weren't even on there. So we didn't need to take them off. That's a bit of a bonus. And that's that cover coming off. Nice and easy. Yep, there we go. Then, right, so this is where I'm going to get it right, I think. We're going to find out what tails come out of that to be able to go straight into the chop block, then out the chop block into the meter. And that's what we want. Basically, the tails that come out of the meter, we want to go out of the meter, and into the fuse board. We'll just take them out of the meter and put them into the chop block, because then everything that comes out the meter is metered, where it is metered for the house electrics and metered for the new EV charger as well. So they can basically measure what they're using with the CT clamp and stuff. So then we'll put our new neutral in, new little short bits of 25mm that will go straight from there into the bottom of the meter. And this little new board, it came with 16mm tails to the new EV box. So we're just going to use them as well. It's really, ideally in my mind, you would use 25. But if that's a 60 amp fuse in there, yes, it will be fine. You can have that. That'll be okay. But I would preferably use 25mm tails. So we're going to use 25mm tails to go from the meter into the chop block. And then, of course, yes, definitely, we've got to mount this Wago box. We might as well put a screw in it so we can fix it somewhere. So the CT clamp can go into there where it goes back to the EV charger outside, and shut that up in the Wago box. Didn't need to test it at all. We'll just clamp it onto the cable once it's in there. And then we've got to also still connect up the supply going into it. I've got the fuse out still, so that'll be fine. So then what I'm actually doing here, making sure these are nice and tight. Just do them up tight enough with a screwdriver. What I was told, FT, fucking tight. That's what we've got to do it up as. So make sure they're nice and tight, and then just put your neutral inside to the meter. Do it up. Don't worry about torquing it again as well. A lot of people don't. We're just going to just put it in there and do it up nice and tight once again. And then put the lids on the chop blocks. After we've done them nice and tight, we're confident that that's nice and tight in there. We'll just make sure to put the lids back on, because we don't want no one putting our fingers in there, do we? And obviously the cover back on the meter, we're going to have to do that as well. So we'll put the cover back on the meter, everything's in, nice and tight, and just to make sure that it looks okay. Look, it's half decent looking in there. And now what we want to do basically put power on. We haven't done any testing, but we're confident it'll be all right. It'll only go bang. We'll know if it's no good. Stick the fuse back in. There we go. And we'll just loop them back round so they look like they're not, someone's cut them. And if you've got this far in the video, you're going to know, but this is a complete joke. I didn't actually install this. This is me taking one out. You've got to do a better job than that.